G.I. Joe, a real American hero! I never really watched G.I. Joe as a kid, and I never got the chance to play the game for the Nintendo Entertainment System. And I got a chance to play it recently, and you can watch me play it for the first time. I'll put a link in the video description below. Now, G.I. Joe, a real American hero, came out for the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1990. It was created by a company called Kid and published by another company called Taxon. Now, you're probably like, I've never even heard of those companies before, and I'm not surprised. Taxon was known for the business-to-business electronic market, and Kid is known for making dating sims targeted towards heterosexual men. Yeah, those two companies together doesn't really instill confidence in an action platformer. But they did it, and G.I. Joe came out in 1990 as an action platformer. And is it any good? Does it suck? Let's find out. So G.I. Joe is consisted of 6 missions, and each of those missions are broken up into 3 different levels. And the designers actually did a really good job of making those missions feel unique and the levels feel unique. So each mission has a theme. So for example, in mission 2, you're in the frozen tundra. Mission 1, you're like in a jungle. I think mission 3, you're in a sewer. And then those missions are broken up, like I said, into 3 levels. The first level tends to be a linear, go from beginning to end type of thing. The second level was typically you had to go around and place bombs at certain points on the map. And the third level was another linear, go from start to finish. So they changed it up enough to give you a unique feel. Combine that with the graphics. I mean, the graphics are really cool. The characters are different on each mission. There's different types of actual enemy designs. So for example, in one mission, you would have guys flying helicopters. Another mission, you have teleporting assassins. And the bosses were unique. It's really, really great job because you don't get tired of it. You have one boss, you know, it's like a freaking airplane that's flying in the jungle. By the way, take a notice, the airplane is literally flying between the trees. I don't know how that's possible. I mean, maybe he's a good pilot. And then what's funny is when you blow it up the airplane, half of it comes back to life and tries to kill you. One of the bosses is a guy who flies and has like a hawk that attacks you. It's actually pretty good, and it gives you a change in pace as a player so you don't ever really get bored. In each level, you get to choose between 3 different Joes that you want to take. And during that level, you can switch between the Joes at any time. If one of your G.I. Joes dies, then you have to switch to another one. When all 3 are dead, it is game over. Now that sounds like a great idea. It sounds like it gives you a lot of choice, but the problem is that the G.I. Joes aren't very unique. There's not a lot of differences between them. I mean, they had different stats, but from my playthrough, I really didn't see any difference between, you know, what stat meant what. The actual difference I did see was in the projectiles. So for example, Snake Eyes shoots a Kamehameha. Duke shoots SpaghettiOs. Literally, they're SpaghettiO rings. And these different projectiles have different patterns, which can make a slight change in the gameplay. But honestly, it really didn't mean much. I kind of felt like you could play of any G.I. Joe. It was just very generic. They missed the ball on making a very unique, specific G.I. Joe. And not only that, but their profiles do not match with their actual sprite character. So here, take a look at Duke's profile, and then take a look at Duke's sprite character. They don't even look the same. It's kind of a disappointment because the rest of the graphics are really awesome and they're very unique. But in this case, there must have been 2 different teams working on it, and they must have never talked to each other because it is very clear that Duke does not look like Duke. I'm sorry, it's just there. So, besides that minor thing, this game is actually really, really, really close to being considered a Nintendo Entertainment System classic. There's only one problem, and that problem is difficulty. No. The game is not too difficult. I could respect too difficult. I could respect giving you a challenge, you know, a Castlevania type of difficulty. The game is not a curve in difficulty. It's not a linear progression in difficulty. The game is a wild roller coaster, wild ride going back and forth, easy, hard difficulty. It's crazy. You will literally go from one mission, pulling your hair out because you can't beat it, to go into the next level in the mission. And did I win? Was that the boss? I mean, it is so ridiculous. There is no quality control when it comes to difficulty. And it's so sad because this game is so close to being so great. All it needs is some quality control. All it needs was someone to sit down and go, you know what? Maybe we made the game a little too easy here, or the progression doesn't make sense. Actually, what I feel like is that they made the levels completely separate. They made the levels and missions completely separate of each other. And then they put it all together in one package at the end, because it doesn't really feel like you're progressing to more and more difficult missions and levels. It just feels like random. I don't know. And that's the flaw of this game. That's why this game goes from being an A quality game to a B quality game. It's still good. It's not like a lot of Nintendo trash, but it's definitely not a masterpiece. It's nowhere close. Should you buy this game? Yes. You should definitely have a copy of this game. It is an awesome game. You will love it. But just keep in mind that the difficulty is going to swing crazy throughout the game. And there's really no uniqueness in the different types of G.I. Joes. But if you can look past those two things, the game is actually pretty decent. It's a pretty decent game. Just not quite there. So does it suck? No, it doesn't suck. Should you buy it? Yeah, you should buy it. So come on back next time and maybe we'll take a look at G.I. Joe, The Atlantis Factor. Yo, Joe! If you like this video and you want to see more like it, hit that subscribe button. You can also hit me up on Twitter @RetroUnlocked or visit my website, retrounlocked.com.